Do you think the ANC may finally be taking corruption seriously? Is this something we could even dream about, or is this just about ANC internal politics? Recently, the ANC held their NEC meeting here in Germiston in Gauteng, and a lot of interesting things happened. Possibly the most interesting thing that happened was that the meeting dismissed Deputy President Paul Mashatile and Minister Thembi Simelane from the meeting for an hour or so, while they discussed their corruption problems. Now, as we all know, both of these people are beset with problems. Paul Mashatile seems to be a walking problem. One minute he doesn't own homes, the next minute he owns 70 million rands worth of homes. His wife's sister wins the lottery contract. His sons are the best businessmen in the history of business. There's a lot of smell around Paul Mashatile, and he's the guy in pole position to become the next ANC president. But with all of these problems swirling around, it's just a matter of time before the other parties in Parliament start asking uncomfortable questions. But of course, the most uncomfortable questions are going to be asked by the ANC itself as it heads towards its elective conference next year. Or not next year, at the end of 2027. Minister Thembi Simelane, we know, has a big question to answer, because she got one of those wonderful loans that we all dream about, where people lend us money never expecting to get paid back. So, in other countries, they don't call that a loan, they call that a bribe. But instead of doing anything about it, President Ramaphosa decided to move her from her portfolio, where she was Minister of Justice, and moved her to Human Settlements, and tried to dodge this issue of her corruption. But of course, the opposition parties wouldn't let it go, and there's still a lot of pressure on the ANC to investigate Thembi Simelane and do something about it. Now, this follows the successful action against former Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nabushle Nkabane, who had done some really dodgy stuff in her time as head of higher education, although one can say for sure there wasn't really questions of her own sort of impropriety, that she might have in fact benefited from anything that she did. Certainly know a lot of comrades that stood to benefit, and we know that one of the comrades that stood to benefit was Gwede Mantashe's son. But seeing that was a deal breaker, and trying to get the budget passed, the President Ramaphosa decided to throw a bone to the GNU partners, especially after he had fired Andrew Whitfield, and fired Minister Nkabane, which has got to be a first for the ANC, the first time that they've ever really acted against a minister who had a whole lot of question marks attached to them. But what is really interesting is we know the ANC stance on corruption has been, innocent until proven guilty. And that's always a great line, especially once you've gutted the legal and justice system. So it's almost impossible to find these people guilty, because we have no police service. We know that the Minister of Police is suspended with full pay. He basically is on holiday. And assuming office as Minister of Police is going to be somebody who is fairly useless in the Gauteng legislature, and that is Feroz Kochalia. So don't hold your breath on anybody being found guilty. Bottom line is, why is the ANC suddenly getting all serious about corruption? Could it be that they understand that, some noisy podcasters won't let it go? Could it be that they understand that the public are not exactly seeing their tax money being stolen? Do you think that they are being dragged kicking and screaming into the world of real politics, where you better keep your voters satisfied? This is all a new development. I mean, what next? We suddenly might just get an ambassador appointed to a country like the USA. We might even start seeing some people being held accountable at local government level. I mean, right now, if you are one of these dodgy mayors, if you were, for example, in the Johannesburg Metropolitan Council, maybe you'd start feeling a little bit nervous, seeing as though all the money seems to disappear and never get spent on anything. Or in the city of Tshwane, where they've not been able to get a water treatment plant working for 20 years. Really? Do you think the ANC is starting to take corruption seriously? This could be a game changer. Because if the ANC starts acting on corruption, some of its partners in the metros who are also on the gravy train might also start taking corruption seriously. This is indeed a very positive development, if it's a development. It's not the first time that the ANC has taken steps and done theatrics which looks like action, but this was pretty significant. I'm still going to believe that this is all done with politics in mind and has got nothing to do with justice or service delivery. But hey, you know what? We'll take our small wins wherever we can. And as a South African, I'm just happy to see something happening, even if it's not everything that I hoped would happen. But let's see. It's a first step in the right direction. An interesting move. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the Political Insider. We'll see you in our next episode. Thank you for joining me.